ลิ้นกับฟันพบกันที่ไรก็เรื่องใหญ่น้ำกับไฟถ้าไกลกันได้ก็ดีมากับแมว
Hello. Assalamualaikum. Good evening and selamat malam everyone. Welcome to LOL with Rizal. Wow, memang I want to say that thanks guys. Thanks to Sate, CA, and Dr. Eric for approving my leave request. So last Thursday, I actually didn't have an LOL with Rizal, first time ever. Actually, I could do it, but I didn't know why I didn't want to do it that time. I think because TKSS was on holiday. I also want to copycat. I also don't want to go live. Just take the day off, and then decided to do it on Tuesday, Super Tuesday. There's a lot of people that are saying, Rizal, tukar ke? Are you moving from Thursday to Tuesday? Actually, no. Today is a special session by request because I have a special guest today, and this person is super busy, super busy, and she has only a few days open in a week, so I got to accommodate. All right, so I got to accommodate. But anyway, welcome again to LOL. This is not season 2. We just had a break. So season 2 lambat lagi. I need to end the season first before I create the new season. So belum cliffhanger lagi. So right. Anyway, for you guys that have joined in, please do drop a comment. Say hi. Let us know where you're from. If you're here in KL or if you're anywhere else in Malaysia. I know that some of you are watching on YouTube and also some of you watching on Facebook as well. Okay. All right. So, we got a comment in here. Hey, AJ, tak apa, whatever day we still support. Thank you, man. Really appreciate it. And I think I saw that you just either you got promoted or you just got a new role. Yeah. Hopefully you can share with us a bit more about what you're doing now, AJ. Either way, congratulations. I think that's very good. All right, so let me just change up the mood a bit. I'm gonna stop my music and then I'm gonna go to my normal, cool, chilling, relaxing music by DJ Fuzz. All right. So again, those who are joining us, through Facebook or even YouTube, please drop a note. Say hi because my guest is here today. She's excited to be live on LOL, and we want to know where you're from. So come on, bagi je comment, bagi je. Apa pun tak apa. Okay, so we got here. Hey, hello, hi Adrina. How you doing? Thank you so much for joining us. Yes, it's a Tuesday, right? Tuesday. This is deceiving because I usually do on Thursday, and then suddenly now on Tuesday. My mind now that I'm closing into the weekend, but actually it's not. It's only the start of the week. Only the start of the week. All right. Okay, cool. So, just a quick recap here. Today, let me just bring up again the poster that I had for this particular show. Ta-da! Super Tuesday special edition, the hot topic, mind your language. Mind your language. Okay. Kalau you tak, if you're young like me, you probably don't know. I'm joking. All right. Mind your language, when we say that word, reminds me of that old sitcom way back. Super way back. All right. Mind your language. I think that's in the 1980s. Very, very cool. Mr. Brown. Yeah, he was teaching a bunch of foreign students in the UK on about English as a second language. Very funny. And it is there entrenched in my head. I can still remember the scenes and everything. Hey, hi Anissa. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining in. Really appreciate it. All right. So again, guys, if you're on Facebook or on YouTube, feel free to drop a note. I think YouTube you can't. Maybe on Facebook you can. Facebook you can definitely can do that. All right. So without further ado, I want to bring on our guest for today. Our guest for today. Wow. When I say hot topic, right? There's a reason for it. Pedas. Okay. So when I first met this person, I was talking to her. I knew straight away about this girl, full of passion. She's on a mission, and you can see it from her post. Really intense. Lots of good things that is coming out from her through her post and her, what her personal goals are. So it's really cool. So I can't wait to bring her on and then introduce you guys to her. Aw, Adrina, my line is bad. Tak apa. Tak apa. You can still watch the replay. Kalau nak pun, you nak email I boleh hantar YouTube lepas ni. Boleh tengok. No problem. You can't see anything? Okay, never mind. Dengar suara kita orang. Hey, Prasad, how you doing? Thank you for joining us. All right, let's without further ado, let's bring our guest for today. Let's welcome. Ta-da!
Hi,
Hey.
everybody.
Okay.
I'm loving
Wow.
the love in here.
There's a lot of people coming in, right? They're saying they cannot see. Oh, very strange. So Gladys, welcome Gladys. Hi Rizal, not sure if it's just me, but the show seems to have repeated itself.
Oh,
Really? Is it repeating? I don't know. Okay, do let us know if you see something, odd, or I will try and check out on my end. I'll use my phone to go and check. Don't worry. And yes, Iman Raza is helping many, many people. Yes,
I
indeed, she
hope so.
is. Yep. Oh, same thing happening to TKSS yesterday. Yeah, okay. All right, cool stuff. Now, of course, as mentioned just now, today's is a special Super Tuesday. The hot topic is mind your language. So I want to then pass on the mic to our esteemed guest, Iman. Come on, give us some background. Give us the lowdown. What's Iman all about?
Okay. Hello, everyone. Good evening. First of all, Rizal, thank you so much for having me. And thank you for accommodating my busy nights because my nights are rather full with classes and coaching. So thanks for making an exception for me. And on the note of mind your language, I'm just as young. So I also watched it growing up. And you know what's funny about the series is it is about the teacher, Mr. Brown, teaching a group of foreign students English as a second language. But in real life, they all actually speak very good English. So that's what's amazing about the whole series. Yeah. So
Mm.
it's one of my favorite sitcoms growing up, and you can actually find some seasons on YouTube, full seasons, and I sometimes go back and watch it. So yeah, one of the best sitcoms ever, I would say. So yeah, about me, basically, on LinkedIn I go about as the English language advocate, and it is,
Mm.
as you mentioned, something that I hold very dearly to my heart. One of the reasons is because growing up, believe it or not, while many people faced problems speaking in English, my problem was fitting in because I spoke in English. Yeah, so I've always shared that I had a very, very easy background when it came to learning English because my parents spoke English, my grandparents spoke English. So I grew up in an English speaking environment basically. But my
Mm.
struggle began when I started going to school and sekolah kebangsaan nonetheless. Jadi kita lah yang pelik because I like to speak in English. Bila English class kita yang tak sabar-sabar nak jawab. So kita lah yang pelik. So
Mm.
learning the language was not a struggle for me growing up, but fitting in, making friends, getting people to understand me was tough. And
Wow.
it went all the way till my first job, believe it or not. Sampai my first job, I was still facing problems fitting in because first and second jobs, I would say even, because of my preference to express myself in English, to speak in English. So ramai macam tak suka lah, macam tu. So I've
Oh.
had my fair share of being mocked, being called names, simply because I love to speak a foreign language. But I bear the fruits today, which is what I'm going to talk about, hopefully. So
Wow.
yeah, for just ignoring the naysayers, I am actually where I am today. No
All
complaints
right.
there. But had a pretty hard time fitting in, and just being one of them. It was tough. It was tough.
Okay. I want to ask a question.
Yes.
How it was it because your bahasa was bad?
Tak ada lah. You want me to speak bahasa can? Nak suruh cakap bahasa utara pun boleh. Tak ada masalah. Mana you mai
Tu
cakap?
dia.
So I don't think it's that. I think which we will look further into as we go along today. But I think it's just the concept or the whole. If Iman speaks in English, what's wrong with her? It's really just that. Dah kenapa? Tak boleh cakap bahasa Melayu ke? Dah lupa
Oh.
diri ke? Don't you know where you're from? Don't you know who you are? I mean, don't you know where you are? You're in Malaysia. What's wrong with you speaking in English? It was really just that. It was really just
Interesting.
that. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so that was your struggle, which was, you used English, and a lot of people were maybe a bit taken aback, and then
Yeah.
they might view it differently, which is common actually for back in the time when I was in elementary and junior high school too. I
Mhm.
thought that there is a certain stigma if you use a English, then easily said that
Something's
this
wrong
guy
with
is
you.
something wrong or showing off lah. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's interesting. Now you can definitely speak Utara lah, right? Orang
No
Utara lah
problem at
pun.
all. When I go back
Oh,
home and I speak with my family, when we speak in Bahasa, we don't speak KL English even. We still speak in Bahasa Utara. When I talk to my mom and my dad, kami sembang Bahasa Utara macam biasa aja.
oh dear.
Yeah, we speak like normal. We just use English as a tool to get by and to do the things that we want to do. But even in fact with my children pun, I speak like that, and then she'll go like, "Huh?" So yeah, I want to expose them to that. I don't want them to grow up thinking they are, you know, it's bad enough my daughter seorang lahir kat Negeri Sembilan, seorang kat Selangor, mak orang utara, my husband orang Perak. So we're everywhere. I mean, we're all Malaysians, so we speak any dialect, and any pelat you want, as long as people can understand. So yeah, I still speak Bahasa
Okay.
Utara with my family.
Nice, nice, nice. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? Being
Not
able
at
to
all.
swap and do different styles of languages and dialects, and then being able to also then, you know, how do you say, you change gear when you're speaking. Because when we're
Mm-hmm.
speaking, we use it for many contexts. One is
Mm-hmm.
social, another one is through work, and then one is when we're going live and doing an interview. We
Yeah.
got to switch gears.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
All
true.
right. Okay, so maybe we go straight away to the hot question of the day, right? I
Okay.
really want to ask Nila, right? So why focus on the English language? And then why do people need to focus on English language or improvement? SPM saja tak cukup ke?
This is where the story gets a little bit long, but okay, let's do this. SPM saja has not become enough for the basic reason where English has become an international language, and English has to be spoken in a way that goes beyond just getting an A. So here's what happened to me.
Mm,
I did not always think that I was going to do this. Never in a million years did I ever think I was going to be in this line. Never.
mm.
Okay, and my parents are both lecturers, retired but lecturers. Uh, some of my family members thought I would follow in their footsteps because I always loved to talk. Dari kecil memang suka bercakap. So everybody thought that I would follow, get into education lecturing. And I swore I would never do. I would never get into that line. Jang, jang, jang. Even though I'm not a lecturer, I'm in
Alamak.
the training, coaching, education. Yeah, what never hate. They say don't hate something too much. You
Ah,
end up with it. Oh, okay. So basically what happened to me was I realized this when I was at my second job where I was working as a recruitment consultant. Okay. The first
mm,
project that was given to me as a recruitment consultant was to help place high achieving IPTA fresh graduates for jobs at multinational companies and government linked companies in the country. So the jobs that were being offered, by these MNCs and JLCs were also high paying jobs. Basic salaries of 2007 for fresh grads, no
mm,
experience. The
mm.
highest that was being offered was a basic of 3,500 for a management trainee program. So
Wow.
high, top notch, high end positions to help the fresh graduates. And this was around 2010, 2011, between those years. Yeah. Uh, I'll just share a little bit of a background of the high achieving graduates. I was sending out graduates with 3.97 in actuarial science, 3.8 in marketing, 3.75 in international business. So we're talking the creme de la creme, the best of the best in the country. After sending around 80, yeah, after sending around 80 graduates out for job interviews, do you want to guess how many of them were hired? I mean, even in the crowd,
Hmm.
those of you listening in, and if you've not heard my story, how many, how many of the 80 graduates were hired?
Okay, we will wait for the audience to give their give their thoughts. My suspicion it'll be less than 10% or around that.
Less than 10%, but less than
le-
10% is okay lah. Okay, less than
around
10%.
around 8 lah. Around 8. So it is, but that was a very good. If you're talking 2010, 2011 for management training to get around 3.5, it's actually quite high.
Very high.
Very high, right?
Very high. Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy high.
So
Back then.
shall I give the answer? Okay.
Okay, we
Not
got
yet.
one. Let's see, they've got a comment here. Let's see.
Mm,
Kat sini. Wow. Okay, so Gladys says 10%. So she's
okay.
like me. Anyone else? Any idea? Go ahead. Before Iman gives in her answer. I want to go back to that point just now. Is that these are IPTAs, meaning local
Local
graduates.
universities, yeah. It
Okay,
was a
local university
government
graduate.
project. So it was a
Okay.
project to help um, IPTA students.
Okay.
Because at that time, 2010, 2011, the unemployment rate was very, very high. A
Mm.
lot of graduates were not getting jobs. So the project was given to the company that was with to
Yep.
help, bridge. The program itself was called Bridging the Gap. It was supposed to bridge that salary gap,
Ironically.
bridge the unemployment gap. So that was what it was all about.
Okay. All right.
Mm.
Okay. I can't wait anymore. I want to know
Okay,
how many.
sure.
Give it to us.
Out of the 80, 5 of them were employed.
Wow,
That's a
5.
2% employability rate. That's a
Oh.
2% employability rate. And I wasn't the only one on the project now. There were like 6 others on the project who were getting similar results. So of course I had to check with my clients what's going on because I had a KPI to hit. I cannot be getting only 5 out of 80 being hired, then my KPI hancur lah kan. So of course I had to check with my client, and all of my clients got back to me and said that the reason they're not hiring the rest is due to lack of confidence to speak in English. Not even cannot speak perfect English. They did not complain about how good or how bad the English was. All they said was no confidence to speak in English. They can't even bring themselves to answer tell me about yourself questions in English. Ada yang minta untuk jawab bahasa Melayu. Yang tu I call interview suicide lah. Memang you ask to speak in Malay, if they ask in English memang I'm sorry, that's it lah kan. Okay. So that was the first eye opener. Tak habis lagi. That was the first eye opener. So when that happened, I realized, I felt to myself, I don't know why I couldn't just let it go. I couldn't just go on with my job. It didn't sit right by me that these are good students, but they're not getting jobs simply because they're not able to converse or express themselves confidently in English. So I decided to get involved in training, specifically English lah. So I left that company. Alhamdulillah, I got a job in training. I left that company. So after that, for about 5 years, I spent my time traveling around the country to train graduates, students, and even young adults for it was a 2-day program on developing their confidence to speak. Now, during that stint was when I trained thousands of people, kan? So I would speak to them, uncover what's going on, what's holding them back, So I discovered 2 main reasons that has caused our countrymen to lack the confidence to speak in English. Okay. The first reason is because they lacked or did not have any exposure to the English language before they went to standard 1. So at a young age. So when we say young, not just sekolah rendah. Young means even before they started formal education, they did not have the exposure to the language. Maybe kalau pergi tadika pun dalam bahasa Melayu. So they don't have exposure to the language. Now what happens is our English curriculum is a curriculum that has the same expectation of students that they did back in the 50s, and it's the same now. The expectation is masuk sekolah, you understand the language, you can speak, you can write, you can read, you can score A. So imagine a student yang tak ada exposure to the English language before going into standard 1. So the language is totally foreign lah, not even second. It's totally foreign. Go to standard 1 and immediately expected to understand and excel. It creates fear. So it's bad enough that there's that fear. It goes on, standard 1, standard 2, standard 3. Because the curriculum doesn't get easier, does it now? The expectation does become lesser. It becomes more and more and more. UPSR. By that time, dah mental block. So they carry that fear But dia dah takut dengan language kan. You imagine you tak tahu language ni, tiba-tiba kena A, tiba-tiba kena tahu I, is, was, were, tiba-tiba kena tahu he, she, they, them. It's scary. So they
Yes,
carry that
indeed.
fear all the way until SPM, dapat A because cikgu bagi tahu macam mana nak dapat A, but with fear
Yes.
of the language.
Betul. You just actually answered the question that Gladys had. It then becomes a question mark. How did they achieve good
Yes,
results? And yet not being
because
competent in English.
because we are taught. I'm talking about this in a general standpoint. Not, we may have had some English teachers who tried to push us to talk and all that, but we're talking general standpoint, and we are also talking about people, the general population in the country who did not get that exposure to the English language when they were young. When we have that exposure, even if the school doesn't do a good job in teaching us, tak apa, because we have that exposure, so we can kind of learn it on our own. We go home, we're talking, we're with our friends, we're talking. But students yang tak ada exposure, the school needs to make sure you get an A. Result kena hantar student banyak dapat A. So what do the school have to do? What do schools have to do? Ajar tips. Kalau dapat soalan macam ni, jawab macam ni. Kalau jawab soal apa, if you get this kind of question, answer like this. If the question
Yeah.
says this, you answer like that. So students answer based on what they have been fed, not based on understanding of the language. And they do
Yeah.
that having developed fear and more fear as the years go by. Itu baru point number one. The
Wah,
second
point
thing
number
that
one baru.
baru point number one. This is a very deep-rooted problem, Rizal. This is a
Okay,
very
kita
deep-rooted
balik
problem.
balik. Yep.
Now, the second thing that happens is, of course, ada student dia walaupun tak ada exposure, even though they don't have the exposure to the language, when they go to school, they develop the love for the language. But what happens? They get mocked, they get teased, they get excluded from joining from being among friends, they get called weird. So typically, a child wants to fit in. A child wants friends. No child wants to be left out. So what do? They put aside learning the language in order to fit in. So they don't practice, they don't apply it, because if they apply it, they get laughed at. So you imagine that unfortunately, our entire education, bukan system, our entire education is like that. Dari darjah 1, you fear the language, you get mocked by people, you go to secondary school, you continue fearing the language, you continue getting mocked by people, you go to matric, college, you go to IPTA, you continue getting mocked, and then by that time, you know it, you graduate and you need to answer interview questions in English and you go like, oh, boleh tak saya jawab pakai Melayu?
Nah.
The problem is
Yeah.
deep-rooted, Rizal. It's not a problem because, tak belajar English betul-betul. Tak. It's not whether you belajar betul-betul ataupun tak. It's really not enough exposure to the language, and that problem, that fear is not addressed. We keep giving
Exactly.
more information, more rules. Must get A, must write like this, must do like this, must, So SPM dia jadi dapat A, tapi A tu is just on paper. A tu
Yeah.
is just that's what you know, but now can you use it?
Yep.
Tak
Actually,
ada.
I wanted to highlight that this is my point of view. You can also chime in as well, Iman. Yes, the emphasis is on the English language and then the capability to converse and having the confidence. Not at all saying that we should put aside any other languages that you want to learn. So it equally is important to be able to converse in proper Malay. In fact, bahasa Malaysia itself, a lot of people out there cannot use it properly in the right settings. It becomes so pasar. It's so pasar that when you get to a formal situation where you are supposed to present or speak in meetings, it sounds kekok, very odd.
Yes.
So it's not just about we are forcing people to just speak up on English, but it's a matter of appreciating language, and that's my point of view. I don't know, what do you think?
Oh, that's so true. I just wrote about this a few weeks ago. if we look back,
Mm.
if we really look back at during the 50s, 60s, 70s, when yes, we were colonized, before we were independent, when the British were here, everybody was speaking in English. Everybody had to learn everything in English. Math, science, everything was in English, with the exception of the language subjects. But that was also the era, and that was also the time where we produced some of our most infamous, legendary poets, writers.
Mm.
They were born during that time. So it's not
Mm.
about, ada orang macam, cakap bahasa Inggeris nanti lupa bahasa Melayu. No. The time where English was the main language, was at par as bahasa Melayu in our own country, that was the time that Samad Said was born, Sanaria
Yep.
Hassan was born, and they have produced the books that we use today for literature.
Mm.
So
Indeed.
and I agree with what you say. Even for bahasa Melayu pun, what are we taught in school? Kalau soalan tanya macam ni, jawab macam ni. Kalau tak ada perkataan ini, nanti salah. So what do we end up doing? Even for bahasa, I know I'm advocating for English, but even for bahasa, we are taught on how to write word for word.
Yes.
Jadi
Oh
bila we
dear.
learn to write word for word, when we go out and we suddenly have to write a formal letter in bahasa Melayu, in ways that we were never taught before in our curriculum, that's where we get stuck. So it's
Mm.
again not betul what you said. It's not just English. It's really any language. We need
Yep.
to know
Yep.
how to use it, not just use it for the sake of getting an A, you know?
Betul. I think that I remember. Okay, my SPM year was way back. I mean, I'm a 90s SPM guy, so
Oo.
sort of give away my age. But I do remember the drills that
Uh-uh.
we have, the rumusan lah,
Yes.
the writing, the letter, how to write
Mm.
a letter, how to answer. It's,
Mm.
you're spoon fed. So much of the
Yes.
practical aspects of it. Even that we had oral tests before, right? Ujian lisan, I remember,
Yeah.
and the English and the Bahasa both had oral tests. And I
Ada. Kita
remember
had.
for English it was very basic.
Yeah.
But I think the Bahasa one is a bit more interactive. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't
But
recall.
then
It's
how
been.
much of that, percentage wise, how much of that translates to the entire grade? That's only a small
Mm,
percent. The bigger percent is
okay.
you must score the paper.
Yes, yes, yes. That's true. That's
Ah,
true. Yeah, because a lot of it is focused on your written test, which involves comprehension, creative writing. But the creative writing portion also is not that much. In fact, you're basically required to answer as per what we have been taught in the classes. All right, lah. All
you know
right.
what?
Yeah.
Just one thing that happened a few years ago. I was
Mm,
tutoring this boy. I was tutoring him in English lah sebenarnya. But
mm.
there was one day when I went to teach him kan, he was really glum, he was really sad. And I tanya dia what's wrong. Nama dia Iman juga sebenarnya. I said, Iman, what's wrong? And then he actually didn't get an A for his trial as science paper, UPSR, trial science paper, by only 2 marks. By only 2 marks. Okay, and this was the question. How can you what allow? Okay, I don't remember the question word for word, but basically is how come you can see your reflection in the mirror? Okay, how come you can see your reflection in the mirror? Now, my student, the boy that I was tutoring answered pantulan cahaya, light reflection. Okay,
Okay.
alright. Now, skema jawapan cakap cahaya yang dipantulkan, light that is reflected. He lost 2 points there. I rest my case. I rest my case.
Waduh, by the book lah that one.
Mana budak tu tak sedih malam tu? I nak ajar dia pun I jadi sedih. I rest my case.
Okay, fine.
Mm.
All right, I understand that. That was tough lah. I mean, for kids at that age, I mean, ah, okay. I hope no kids are listening to this. For me,
I know.
test during junior high or high school, it was good fun. It was stressful to do it, but in hindsight, knowing post SPM, when you go to work, how much of it is applicable to your life or your
That's
interest
right.
whatsoever is none.
That's right.
But
Yeah.
again, it's about
You have to
the
go through
whole
the motion
way.
lah.
You have to go through motion, getting used, preparation,
Yeah.
exam, having fun, stress, all that. It's part and parcel of life.
That's
All
true.
right,
That part is true.
so I'm gonna bring up. I want to go back Now, so we were talking about, why focus on the language. So my second question, right, is really more on the struggle because
Mm-mm.
to this day, right, LinkedIn for me is an amazing platform to connect with many individuals, professionals, or anyone in the business world. Networking, you do it through LinkedIn, and the majority of them are posting in English. There's a
Mhm,
few of them that do bahasa. Sometimes I do too, but it's
mhm.
the toughest thing for me to do. I come up sounding like some uncle, some pakcik mana, Melete. But people do try their best to go and write. Now, I know that there's a lot of people out there, uh, they want to participate, they want to be active on LinkedIn, but they can't.
Yes.
Partly because they just struggle to pen down, their thoughts in English, and they're worried, right? So maybe this is not just about LinkedIn, but it's just the basic struggles, right?
Mhm.
So, from your own experience through speaking, teaching, uh, from kids from 1 to 92, what the struggles that people are facing now when learning English?
Okay. The first struggle is fear.
Fear.
That's the first struggle. For most of the participants I trained, and for most of the students who are in with me right now in my program, once I break down that fear, they they achieve things that they never thought that they could. You see,
Mm.
generally, we've all learned English for at least 15 years, plus minus, from primary school all the way to graduating with a degree, if we graduate with a degree, yeah? From 7 years old all the way to when you graduate with your degree, you would have gone through at least 15 years of formal education, which
Mm.
means that we know the language because we've heard our teacher say it, we've heard our teacher talk about it, we've had to talk with our teacher, we hear our friends speak in English class, so we know the language. So why are we still struggling? Because there's that mental block, which is the fear towards the language that started from the age of 7, and then
Mm.
the fear of being mocked, that goes on and on and on and on and on, it never ends. So
Mm.
actually, to be honest, Rizal, that's the struggle. The struggle is not grammar. The struggle, there are mistakes. There are mistakes with the grammar. There are mistakes with the pronunciation. There are mistakes with the sentence structure. But that's not the struggle. The struggle is the fear.
Mm.
Once they get over that fear, everything just suddenly, it's like you suddenly you've not been out for a while, can MCO, can you suddenly open the door, you go like,
Mm.
oh, the sun is there, the grass is there, the blue sky is blue, I didn't know the sky was blue anymore. That kind of feeling, that kind of feeling. So the
Yeah.
problem is fear. So similar to people who want to write on LinkedIn, they want to express themselves on LinkedIn or on their Facebook or on their Instagram, the struggle is really, if I write this, will people laugh at me? If I write this, am I going to be writing it right? If I write this, will people start calling me weird? If I write this,
Mm.
are people going to start judging me? These are all
Mm.
fearful thoughts.
Mm.
I mean, I don't think anybody really goes, if I write I, do I use am? Do I use is? Do I use were? Do I use was? I don't think anybody really, before they write, they go like, I don't think anybody really does that. But it's more of, if I write this, what are people going to say to me? If I write this, will
Mm.
anybody reply? Will anybody respond? Will anybody react?
Yep.
Fear.
Yeah, there is a lot of situation where you feel judgment. It's quite critical, and then I've been around for, I've been on LinkedIn for quite a bit, and a lot of people do have spoken to me, Rizal. I don't want to write something because it's not me, or I feel
Ah,
like people will then judge me for what I write. There might be mistakes and whatnot. I think that as long as if you want to try, you want to give it a go, and then just have a look at what other people are doing, and once you start getting into the groove, and you get used to start off very small, then suddenly start growing and posting a lot more, you get more confidence.
that's true.
So I want to ask you, if you're talking about fear, right? Conquering fear is a big topic. There's a
Mm-hmm.
whole lot of fears out there. For me, my fear is getting injection, right? So lelaki is common lah. Apa nak kena AZ hari tu pun sakit ke? the, the nurse guy pakai jari cucuk, no. Jadi je. Because and then I mean, but okay. Let's say for the struggles that people who are currently working, right?
Mhm.
Beyond fear, what other struggles do you think that they face beyond
Uh,
fear?
yeah, they do share that they are scared people don't understand them. Dia macam mana pun it comes back
Mm-hmm.
to fear, Rizal. Unfortunately, it's fear. Takut orang tak faham. I'm scared people don't understand. I'm
Mm.
scared that I'm choosing the wrong word. I'm
Mm.
scared that when I speak in English, uh, the right word doesn't come to my mind. So it's
Ah.
all fear. Semuanya takut, takut salah, takut tak jumpa perkataan, takut orang tak faham, takut salah sebut. Fear, 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 fear. It's fear. I'm scared if I speak yeah, I get judged to the normal, but it's sebenarnya kan macam mana bukan it's fear. Yeah, they are scared that when they speak it's wrong. It's wrong. I'm afraid that when I speak I take too long because I need to
Mm.
translate in my mind,
Oh,
because I have
okay.
to
Yeah.
translate. I know the answer, I know the answer, but I know the answer in Malay. Now I need to translate to English. I might take too long. I'm scared that if I speak
Ah.
in English I'll take too long to translate and then I might find the wrong word.
Hmm. I I want to throw this in. I want to throw this to the audience and also to you too, right?
Mm-mm.
One of the key hot topic we talk about is always language.
Mm-mm.
Because multiracial country, everybody is speaking their own mother tongue, and then we
Mm.
have a national language, and then from a because we are also a very global country that we
Mm.
deal with many countries when we're doing business, or when we communicate, so
Yep.
people use English. So that's the whole thing, that whole area of information traveling around us. And then uh these days, because of the availability of content on either YouTube or TV
Mm-hmm.
to be very language specific,
Mm-hmm.
it's easy for me to be in my comfort zone. Let's say
Yep.
I'm a big fan of Korean dramas or anything in Korean language. I could
Mm-hmm.
spend hours and hours and hours just looking at that, and then further enforcing my skills and my comprehension and my ability to understand Korean. And
Mm-hmm.
there's no limit. Really, really, one of the struggles that I think people face is that there's no control over uh what we watch, be it digitally, or because access is everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's my thought. What do you think?
Well, that could be one also. It's saturated. So which one do I follow? Which one do I do? What do I do? What do I watch next? That could also be it. But okay, can you speak any Korean, whether simple or not? Can you speak some Korean after all the hours and hours and hours of watching? I
Oh,
I
not
have a point. Boleh ke tak?
yeah,
Boleh ke tak?
me.
You after all watching all these Korean dramas, are you able to like not maybe not like a conversation, but can you speak the language per se if you
M-
had to?
Maybe Korean is not my big thing. I could speak Japanese, because I was a big fan of a lot of Japanese. I can speak that, but that was because I was living there, so it's a different story lah.
Exactly. Okay,
Yeah.
so here's my point. When it
Yep.
comes to Japanese, again, you lived in Japan, so you had no choice but to speak in Japan. So
Yep.
on top of watching Japanese movies, reading in, I don't know, did you read in Japanese or maybe reading Japanese and all that?
Yeah.
You were
Yep.
speaking the language, and that's how you acquired the language. Now you're a fan
Mm.
of Korean dramas. Or not to say all, but 99% of the time you are listening.
Mm.
Are you speaking the language? Do you speak? So have you acquired the skill to speak Korean like you did Japanese? That's my
Nope.
point. Sama dengan
Mm.
English. We go to school, we learn theory, kena dapat A, kena dapat A, but there's very little chance to practice. And the ones who normally speak are the
Betul lah.
ones who have the guts to speak. And then when the teacher finds out that you can speak in English, you are always the one joining the competitions. You lah storytelling, you lah choral speaking, you lah, you lah, kan betul tak? And then the others
Betul.
choral speaking kat belakang je.
Okay.
So when
Yep.
there's no
Yep.
practice of the language, theory stays theory.
Yeah. And then selagi
Theory
tak
stays
keluar lidah
theory.
kan, tak
Tak
keluar,
keluar,
and there's no interaction, because
tak ada,
you
takkan
can't really
dapat.
double check, right? You won't be able to do that.
Yes. This is what I
So
always say. When we read, our heart remembers. When we memorize, our mind remembers. When we speak, our mouth and our tongue remembers. So if all we're doing is reading, it's only the heart that the mind remembers. The tongue doesn't know how to say it. The mouth doesn't know how to construct it. So you gotta
Wow.
speak. Then your mouth
Definitely.
knows what to do, what to say, and then it feeds to your brain. Then the words come out. It's all interrelated. You have to speak. So like in your case, you don't speak Korean, but you watch hours and hours of the drama. You understand it, but you cannot speak it. But
Hmm.
Japanese, you were there, you had to speak it, you listened to it, hence acquiring the ability to speak Japanese. And it's the same with any other language. Kenapa Mak Saleh datang Malaysia boleh cakap bahasa Melayu? Sebab dia kena cakap bahasa Melayu dengan semua orang. After 3 months, dia dah boleh cakap bahasa Melayu. Dia nak kelentong kita pun boleh. Kita pula kena kelentong dengan dia. We get tricked by
Aduh.
them.
Betul, betul,
Because
betul.
when they come here, they adapt. Quickly learn bahasa. Quickly listen to how people talk. Pick up the words. Then, they can speak our
Yalah.
language.
Betul,
So
betul.
the only
Agree.
way to acquire a language in terms of spoken lah, we have to practice, we have to speak. But the fear of the language which comes from that standard one punya experience too is what stops most of our countrymen from being able to speak. Nah, I want to talk, I want to write, but I can't. Why? That's why.
Tak ada chance susah kat dia orang tu.
Lepas tu bila ada chance kena perli.
Kena buat. Tak adalah tu, kena carilah. I'm thinking that will be one of my next question after that. So Hazia Sefia, the biggest challenge in my first year of working in the hospitality or customer service. That's true. So if you're in that line of work where you suddenly being put on the spot to be able to speak with
you have
guests,
to immediately pick up.
Yeah.
So you imagine in cases like Hazia, after if I'm assuming that Hazia, I'm assuming you're talking about English lah. The fear was having to use English in the hospitality and customer service line. So again, imagine standard one until graduating from degree, it's all been A. You know, yes, ada lisan, ada some oral, but how much of it? And you only study and prepare for the lisan, not for practical use. And then suddenly you get into this line of work, hospitality and customer service, and you have to be able to converse in English, convince people using the English language, control your emotions in English, pacify people in English. It's not easy. Benda ni kena develop dari kecil.
Betul lah. Okay. So all right. So we know we know why the focus, and then we know what the struggles are, which is definitely fear, right? Now we need to know how. Okay. So I want to beef up my English. I want to really improve that. So how do I do that? Do I need to speak a British or a US slang? So what do I need to do? Banyak orang expect kita nak kena, if I have to speak English, I have to speak a certain way. Way. Actually, we don't need to, but I want to hear from the professional. I want to hear from the human. If I want to beef up, right? What can I do? Should I join a English club? Should I eat more sandwich every day? I don't know. Tell me.
Okay, so I'll go to the letter dulu. Letter. Do I need to speak with a British or US slang? All right. First and foremost, we speak English as a second language. We acquire the language as a tool, as a second language. Primarily, that's why we learn English. Okay? Therefore, it doesn't really matter if you carry a British or a US slang. It doesn't even matter if you carry a Kedah slang. Okay? I have a friend. He's a Kelantanese. And he speaks great English. But he speaks in the Kelantanese intonation. Hey, you want to go and have dinner with me or not after this? You want to go and have dinner with me after this? Grammatically, it's correct. Yeah. Do you want to go and have dinner with me after this? Grammatically, it's correct. But this is how he would say, do you want to go with me and have dinner after this? He literally talks in a Kelantanese intonation. My intonation might be a bit wrong because I'm a Penangan, I'm not Kelantanese. But he doesn't speak with any accent. He doesn't follow anyone's tone. But grammatically, sentence structure-wise, it's correct. So because we are second speakers of the language, it does not become necessary to speak with a British or a US slang. The British speak with a British accent because they grow up speaking that way. The Americans speak with an American accent because they grow up speaking that way. And there's never an expectation, unless you're in Hollywood and you are in movies, there's no expectation for a Brit to speak with an American accent, vice versa. Steve Jobs, the late Steve Jobs, if he were to tour in the European countries, he doesn't suddenly speak in a British accent. He speaks in an American accent because that's the accent that he has always been speaking. So, as non native speakers of English, we don't have to. However, if we have acquired enough of the skill, we can, due to preference, due to interest, due to the love of the sound, we can pick it up. But if we don't speak with that accent, as long as people can understand, dah lah, kau timah.
Itulah.
Kira settle lah tidak? Kira settle lah, dah boleh faham tidak?
Yeah,
Right?
as long as
So,
you get your point across lah, right? Your point
that's
across.
what's most important. The Japanese, they don't speak English with any accent. They speak in their own way. They speak in their own way. But as long as we can understand, okay, because they speak English also as a second, probably even, second lah normally because they speak Japanese or English, right? So yeah, and for us Malaysians, some of us speak English as a third language. Bahasa might be the first, Tamil might be the second, Chinese might be the second, kan? And then baru nak English. So as non-native of the speakers of the language, there's no requirement. And that's another fear tau, Rizal. I'm scared if I speak, I don't sound like the British. Siapa kata kena bunyi macam Mak Saleh? Tak, siapa pun tak pernah kata dalam exam cakap English kena cakap slang Mak Saleh baru boleh dapat A. Tak pernah pun. Jawab ikut skema aja. Cukup dapat A dah. Right, there is not even anywhere in our exams that says that if you want to get an A, you have to speak with a British or an American accent. That's their accent. We have our own way of speaking, as long as people can understand. So back to your first question, if you want to beef up your English, how would you do it? Right, so how would you do that? Now, of course, there are many ways because it's language. It's not like science or math where there's a formula. There's no formula to a soft skill. And because we are all different, we are all born different, we are all born unique in our own way, we all learn in different ways, we adapt in different ways as well, and we accept different ways of learning as well. So there is never one way, which is why on LinkedIn I share many things, because different posts and different tips will speak to different kind of learners. Yeah, and if you notice the days where I share videos, even though everything is in the video, I still write what's in the video content because not everybody watches. Not everybody can capture the notes by listening. They need to capture by reading. So I do both. So there's never one way to beef up our English. But as a basis, what I always say is you have to practice. There's no other way. Rizal, you are proof. Tengoklah tutorial banyak mana pun. Tak cakap tak boleh. No matter how much, kan? But Japanese, you boleh because you spoke the language. So it's the same thing with English. So one of my go-to advice is practice English moments. Especially if you're someone who does not have the exposure and if you don't have the courage to speak yet in English, do not stress yourself and try to speak English for an entire day. It is dead scary. Okay, you bayangkan you tak reti. Okay, you just imagine you don't know how to sew. Imagine that today is the first day you come into sewing class. After 1 week, you want to sew a whole shirt. Is that possible? No.
Give up.
Cannot. Same thing, English, and that's a soft skill. That's not, yes, technical, but soft skill. So when it comes to English, if you still fear the language, if you're still not sure, if you're still scared of what people would say, you cannot just drop everything and suddenly speak in English. So what you do is you practice English moments. What that basically means is you spend certain moments in the day speaking in English. It could be for 5 minutes. It could be just 2 sentences. It could be anything at all. So example, wake up, not to say wake up. Okay, you wake up in the morning. Say your parents, you live with your parents. Wake up in the morning. Assalamualaikum. Good morning, ma. Good morning, pa. What's for breakfast? Lapar ni. Cukup.
Simple.
Because if you're gonna go, what's for breakfast? Oh my goodness, I'm hungry. Oh no, there's no breakfast. Don't worry, ma and pa. Let me go to Food
Mm.
Panda and
Mm.
stress. Very
Okay.
stressful. And because you need to find the words kan. Jadi macam lambat. Moments. What's for breakfast? Dah lapar. Oh, there's no breakfast. Tak apalah, cek beli dekat Food Panda. Okay, you know, moments. So there are moments in that time where you are still practicing speaking in English, and then probably when you go to work, you wanna, it's always about food, kan? Typical Malaysian lah ini. You wanna go for lunch with your friend. Are you hungry? Let's go for lunch.
Mm.
Cukup.
Yeah.
That's it. And then if you're running late, I think we need to get back. Dah lambat ni. Nah, I think we need to get back. That's easy. Very simple English also. So you practice
Mm.
practice English moments now. Okay, so you practice English moments, like I said just now, to let your mouth and your tongue get used to it, to let your mind get used to finding those words, and then slowly it will start adding up. The time will start to add on. You will realize that you feel more comfortable to speak more English, but never go today. It's a brand new day. All I'm gonna do is speak in English. No, I am sorry, it doesn't work. It doesn't work, especially if you're still in that fearful mindset. But if you've been
Mm.
speaking the language since you were young and you are very comfortable with the language, then it's not an issue. It's not an issue.
Mm.
Yeah. So you want to
Wow.
beat it up, take it slow, baby steps. Tak apa, take it slow and then eat slowly put in more words, put in more, spend more time speaking the language slowly, and use whatever English that you know. You don't have to
Mm.
think of bombastic words. Uh, it depends also on what we're doing. If you are a writer and an editor, maybe you need to find bombastic words. But if you're in customer service, in hospitality, if you use too big of words, your customers might not understand.
Yeah lah. Simple lah. Simple and
It's
direct lah.
simple. Whatever English that we
Mm.
know, it's good enough. Practice English moments.
Wow. Cool stuff. English moments. Sounds very romantic, but yes, English moments.
A romantic moment with English.
Yes. Intimate with the English. I also wanted to say that one of the key things that helped me develop, any particular area of interest has always been peer pressure. So if you do have a
There you go.
friend that has the same interest and the same, desire to improve English, why not pair up and then do the moments together? I think that helps quite a lot more, and it does. You then have that comfortable zone where you won't be judged, both of the group, the people who are in agreement that they want to
Yes.
they want to improve English and do that. And it's a good way to socialize in a safe space, and
True?
you help each other improve. I think that's one way to really push it all up. All
Yep, that's so
right.
true.
So I got a few comments here lah. Lina, I wish my hubby would listen to this session. He still don't speak Malay. Don't want to practice talking. Hey Lina, you tahu tak apa sebenarnya Tin nak cakap Melayu ni kan? Sambal petai. Sambal petai baru dia baru tiba-tiba keluar lah. Okay, Rizal can speak English with Le Français accent. I can. I can do lots of stuff. I don't know, right? A lot of people don't know this. This is often said to me, or what I often tell people, Malaysians, we are so lucky.
Mm,
Why? Because from the get go, all of us have a minimum of 2 languages
that's
or
true.
3, right? Even for Malay, we're talking about when we read the Quran, we go and mengaji, right? We technically can read and write, right? But we don't use it in our conversation. We use for
Mhm,
different purpose. So everybody
mhm,
has about 3 languages, and
mhm.
because of that, our tongues are very soft. So it
And
makes
flexible.
adaptation very flexible. So like the Japanese or the Chinese in China, in Japan and Korea, if they learn another language, it's harder for them.
Mhm.
There's nothing wrong with the comprehension, but pronunciation and so on, it's a big
Articulation.
struggle. Articulation is very hard,
They
right?
struggle to articulate.
So
That's right.
so we're lucky. We
Yeah,
we
yeah.
adapt much quicker. It's actually an advantage. So a lot of
Mhm.
people don't know that. We just
That's true.
oh, susah, susah, susah. But actually we are a step ahead. That's why
That's very
Malaysia
true.
or Singapore No, we're always on the forefront. When it comes to business, they love dealing with us because we're
Yes,
easy. We can speak multiple languages.
that's so
That's a
true.
that's a good thing I wanted to share lah.
That's very, very true.
So last one. We got another 5 more minutes. So I just want to know any other hot tips on how to improve my English straight away, apart from the English moments and having a small mini club. Is there any other tips?
Oh, banyak. You ask for
Banyaknya
tips, I
macam
can go
mana?
until tomorrow actually.
Jangan lama.
Okay.
Bagi yang satu dua lah.
Here's another tip, another of my go-to tip, and something I still do until today. Something I still do till today. Especially if you don't have anybody to talk to. Some people don't have anyone to talk to, okay? They may not be in an environment, or they may not be around people who can speak, who want to speak in English. So one of the things that you can do is to find an article, find something that you want to read, okay? And read it out loud. Literally read it so that you can hear yourself read.
Oh.
Okay. Now, also one of my posts that I've written, I think a few months ago. Why does this work? Okay. First one, there was a research done by a university in Canada, University of Waterloo. Okay. Now, they did an experiment on non-native speakers of the English language. Yeah. So what they did was they split the students up into 4 groups. Now, the first group was required to read words silently. Just read to yourself silently. Okay. The second group of students, okay, were asked to read just softly, kind of just softly. Okay. Now, the third one was supposed to read out loud. Okay, my mistake. Only 3 groups, not 4. Only 3 groups. So the first one, read silently, quietly alone. Second one, you read rather softly. No one can really hear you but yourself. The third group would read out loud. Okay. Now, when they tested the 3 groups of students, the group that read out loud was the group that could remember most of the words given. That's what reading out loud does. Okay. Now, that's one. The other thing is, if we were to look at when we want to memorize something, kita tengok balik macam kita baca Quran, like you use the Quran as an example. If we were to read our religious book silently and quietly, will we ever be able to read it properly? Tak.
Probably very, very hard.
But because we read it out loud, that's why we acquire the skill to recite faster. Okay. So this is what reading out loud does. Yeah. Now we go back to English. When we read out loud, even though you're not communicating with somebody, you can hear yourself. When you hear yourself, that is a form of communication. It's not a 2-way communication. It's a 1-way communication. You are talking and telling it to yourself. So when you read out loud, number one thing that happens is your mouth and your tongue gets used to how to say the word, how the sentence structure should look like, what the sentence should sound like. Number 2, when you read out loud, you can hear yourself. Your brain is computing the words, computing how to pronounce it, computing how the sentence should be like. If you read it in your heart, like I said, you read it in your heart remembers. You remember the sentence structure, your mind remembers. But you still cannot say it because it's your heart and your mind that remembers. Your mouth and your tongue doesn't know how to say it.
That's true.
So
That's
you
true.
read out loud. I still do it until today. And you don't get, and then you incorporate that with English moments. You don't have to find a whole newspaper and finish the entire newspaper. Pick an article, pick one paragraph, spend 5 minutes literally reading it out loud. I have a newspaper with me. I'm a geek. I still go by newspaper. I don't go by me. Okay. So one paragraph, read it out loud. With the latest COVID-19 variant Omicron on the prowl, countries are rushing to put in place more safety restrictions. Dah. Okay, back to work.
Wah, mi Maggi cepat dimasak. That's like 2 minutes instant learning.
Ini lagi instant.
Lagi instant, eh?
Lagi instant. Kan? And then you get back to work. Nanti you dah bosan buat kerja, you're tired of work, you get back to your article, then you go back. Local health experts are re-emphasizing the importance of the vaccine booster program, while Singapore now requires Malaysians using the land bank. You get what I'm trying to say? So,
Yeah.
but when you read it out loud, you hear yourself.
Mm.
So, and imagine if you do that every day, pick moments to do that every single day. After a while, you'll get used to it. After a while, you get used to how the sentence should look like. Okay.
Mm.
Now, the
I love
second
that.
thing that you can do is record yourself.
Ah.
Why? When you sometimes when you speak out loud, because when you're reading or speaking out loud, you get so into it that you cannot really hear what you're saying, so you don't know whether you're saying it right or wrong. But when you record yourself, you can listen back, and you listen back to yourself. Do you sound weird? Did that word sound right? Did that word sound wrong? Can I understand what I said? Because when you cannot understand what you said, then you can pinpoint where you went wrong, and you can start checking with all the multiple and various online resources. You can check on how to pronounce it, you can check on how to say it, you can check on how to use it. So record yourself so that you can go back to what you read and pinpoint where you went wrong. Not just that, I used to have a habit of speaking really, really fast. So fast that my dad cannot understand what I say, and my mom has to translate. Oh no, my mom has to repeat what I say to my dad.
Aduh.
So one of the things that I used to do was I would record myself reading, and I will listen back to myself. If I'm reading too fast, means I'm speaking fast on a daily, means I'm speaking fast in my regular conversations, which means that people cannot understand me. So that's when I
Mm.
started to learn how to pace myself when I speak. So I would then record myself again. I'll listen back. So, okay, so this is the pace I need to take. This is where I need to pause. This is where I go up. This is where I go down. This is where I do this. So I retrain myself by listening back to my own recording. Dulu masa I buat
Wow.
training kan, I had a mentor. Dulu when I did training, masa I first start dulu, my mentor will stand at the back of the training room, and she'll be my metronome. So if I was talking,
Serious.
honest to God, if I was talking too fast, she will flag me that I am speaking too fast. So because masa mula-mula tu I had to adjust because I speak very fast kan. So uh not flowers, okay. Yeah, so I had to go through that process of teaching myself how to pace my speed so that people can understand me. Sekarang pun after my
Mm.
classes kan, because I record my classes. After my classes, the next day in the morning, after subuh, I will listen back to the entire 1 hour.
Oh,
Until today, I will listen
dedication.
back and I will see where did I go wrong? Where was I too fast? Can they understand me? Because my classes is not about me, it's about my learners. If I'm too fast and they cannot understand, it defeats the purpose of them coming for my class. So I will listen
Wow.
back to what I say, how I say it, my intonation, my pace. I will listen back and I will make the corrections I need to for my next class. So read out loud. You don't have to read the whole passage. You don't have to read the whole book. You don't have to read the whole newspaper, just snippets, just parts of it. And record yourself. Listen back to yourself and identify which parts you want or need to improve. That's my point.
Nice. Wow. Okay, very very good tips. In fact, it's the beauty about this. The tips that you gave is that they are all very simple and easy to do. Because
Mhm.
English moments, and then reading out loud, and then recording. And then if people say I'm too shy to record, please lah, you can record on IG and put your story. OOTD, or today I'm so sad because
Oh,
whatever.
OTE.
Yeah,
No, no, apa?
yeah.
Apa kata? OTD outfit of the day kan?
Yeah.
ETD, English of the day. EOTD, EOTD, English
EOTD,
of the
English
day.
of the day. Oh, English
I
of the
just use my
day.
voice memo je, Rizal. I don't even put on Instagram ke apa-apa. I just use my voice memo.
Yeah.
Lepas tu
And I'm
I
saying
tak
that
nak dengar, I delete.
I'm just saying that for people, if you can do IG, if you can do TikTok to record your own voice, or to improve
I
your
like
English, you
that.
can
Yeah, if
do
you
it. It's
can do
so
IG,
easy,
you
right?
can do it.
Yeah. Tak
That is
payah
so
lah, right? So
true.
tak payah you have to tak have to filter pun, right? You don't have to filter it to be able to do this. But those are really good tips, and
Yeah.
I think that many people can apply this straight away. So I love it. Thank you so much, Iman.
You're
I want to
welcome.
take this chance, and I realize it. We are just past the hour.
Oh,
This is
okay.
why our session is great, because it's very informative, fun, and engaging. 60 minutes is like nothing.
Yeah, that went by really quick. I did not
It is.
realize that.
It's so quick. Yes, but a few comments I wanted to highlight. So Sharon Tan says that my grandma learned English watching Hollywood show. That a lot of people
Yeah,
do. Yeah,
yeah,
because facial expression and movements and so on, reactions. So those are part and parcel of delivery of language of communication.
very true.
Ellen Chi Sing also said that his sis used to do that newspaper aloud every morning, English and PM, practicing her diction, and
Yes,
it's better than his. And yeah, reading out loud is the original multimedia, which is see,
that's
read,
true.
and yeah. And Gladys said the same thing. Do read,
Yeah,
record, reset,
he said
and
that's
then
true.
do the same. Wow. So I wanna take this quick opportunity to just showcase to everyone, guys. So if you're on, if you're watching the session now, or if you're watching the replay on YouTube or Facebook, go and check out Iman's profile on LinkedIn. Amazing. Like I said, I
Thank
found
you.
her out on LinkedIn and I followed her and I just love what she's putting up and it's very valuable.
Thank
And
you so much.
you when it comes to learning language, uh, don't be shy. um, Everybody starts off from somewhere.
That's true.
A confession, I started learning Mandarin before the MCO, but I had to stop during the MCO. And it's one unique language to learn, very very
Yeah.
tough, but just
Mm-hmm.
so much culture behind it. So I
Mm-hmm.
understand how it feels, how difficult it is to learn a new language. So do pick up and do connect or follow with her. You just only get loads of benefits from it. And one more thing I want you guys to do is this. So YouTube, you need to go and check out her YouTube. She's got tons of stuff there. Let's go and support her. And I want to put it up here. So just connect with Iman on LinkedIn and check out. Oh my god, there's a hiss there. I think I didn't change.
It's
Let me just
okay.
change that now lah. Okay.
No worries, no worries. Small glitch. It's okay.
All right. So check out her YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Iman Rozan. And it will bring you here. And then when you go to the channel, she's got tons of stuff in here. Amazing amount of stuff in here that are useful. Gambar zaman muda-muda pun ada juga. Uh,
Tak adalah muda sangat. Nah, waktu tu tengah pregnant yang bawah tu.
oh,
8 months pregnant. So you
oh,
can see
is
my
it?
swollen nose and
It's okay lah. No, blame it on the glasses lah. Okay. All right. So I'm
thank you
gonna
so
put
much,
this
Rizal.
back. Yeah. So all right. So before we close the show, right? Let's any final notes you want to share with the audience and people who'll be watching the replay.
Well, on a final note, if you are learning the language, take it slow, take it easy, have fun learning the language. Yeah. And if you are on the other spectrum where you speak very well, you have the confidence to speak, do lend a hand to those who are in need. Remember that what's holding them back is the fear. So create a safe space for them to let go of that fear and start practicing to speak. English is actually very fun. I promise you, it's actually very fun. So don't get caught up in the mechanics of it, in the theory of it all. Don't get caught up in all that. Just speak the language anyway. Speak first, and then everything else, I promise you, will fall into place. Even when we learned our own mother tongue, as a Malay, my mother tongue is Bahasa Melayu. I didn't start learning Bahasa Melayu by learning the grammar. I started by listening to my parents speak. I started by forming the words based on what yeah, and then speaking the language and then learning, the rules when I go to standard one. If you speak Mandarin, I'm quite sure you learned Mandarin the same way. I don't think your parents started teaching you Mandarin by understanding the grammar and the rules, but you listen to your parents speak Mandarin, Tamil, Japanese, Arabic, and then we pick up on the words, we speak the language, and then when we go to school, that's when we start learning it formally. So speak first, and I promise you everything else will fall into place after that. Have fun.
Wow. And if you still have problem, you know where to connect and how to to get to Iman.
Yes.
She can help you out.
If you
So
want me
that's
to
one
help you
way
with
lah.
your fear, that's what I do. That's solely what my program does. It really breaks down the fear. Thank you, Gladys. Thank you so much. And you've been with us from the beginning. Thank you so much for staying throughout. Oh,
Yeah.
thanks.
All right. I want to say thank you to you too, Iman, for being with me
My
on this
pleasure.
show, the return
Mhm.
after the break. 1 week break lah, okay? But
Yeah.
I'm really happy. Really good solid 60 plus minutes of information and getting to know each other. Hopefully, we get to meet in person.
Inshallah one
And
day.
then, and then don't close the door for any further opportunities to be on the show, because I think there's so much more that you can contribute on this front. It'll be fun. I would love to have you back on the show sometime in the future. And I want to wish you
I'd
all
love
the
to be back.
best. Yeah, I want to
Thank
wish you
you.
all the best. And oh, hang on, I need to before that. So, Lina Ali says hi, and ooh, we got major influencer all the way from Singapore, Liza Clank. Thanks, Liza, for joining us. I know you're towards the tail end of the show, but Iman, if you want to, do connect with Liza if you
We are
haven't.
connected. I always
Yes,
follow
yes,
her live in the morning. She does it in the morning
yes.
so I can listen to her while I get my work done. So yes, I
Yes,
love
yes, she's
live shows.
amazing. Yes,
Very true.
she's very amazing, and I love what she's doing too. And she's,
Mm-hmm.
creating opportunities and giving the opportunity for people to go, and then
Beyond.
market themselves and showcase what they do. So yes, I'm sorry, Liza, we're gonna have to end the show, but thank you for joining us. All right, and that's all from us. Thank you, everyone. And before we go, good
Good
night,
night.
selamat
Thank
malam,
you so
and
much for having me, Rizal.
assalamualaikum.
Thank you for being here, everybody. Assalamualaikum.
Okay, bye bye.
ลิ้นกับฟันพบกันทีไรก็เรื่องใหญ่น้ำกับไฟถ้าไกลกันได้ก็ดีหมากับแมวมาเจอกันสู้กันทุกทีต่างไม่เคยมีวิธีจะพูดจานกกินโครงโผลงมากอบโครงนกเอี้ยงอ้อยอีเอียงเถียงกันตลอดเวลาเสือกับสิงก็คม